we don't need to call the roll. First item of business would be to consider the minutes of the November 9th meeting. Changes or corrections, additions, anything there? Pretty simple. If there's no changes or corrections, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion by, was that Todd?
Todd.
Okay, and second by, or second?
I'll second.
All right, motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. We'll move on to the regular agenda, starting with the financial statements. Jeremy, is there anything that you would like to point out or walk us through?
Mr. Chairman and Parking Authority members, we, for the end of November, we didn't have any major surprises other than we did have that snowstorm in October, and so the lawn and snow line item is reflected for the surface lots, snow removal, and on those we have to haul the snow out, so that number, can fluctuate, but, under insurance, that was our annual boilers insurance bill for that, and our reserve balance is $1,595,696.44. Combined with the checking, we have total funds of $1,769,235.09.
Okay, thank you for that. Any questions of management? Any questions? If there's no questions, we would entertain a motion to approve the financials for last month. Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve.
And is there a second?
Second by Todd.
Seconded by Todd. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, call the roll, please, Sue.
Josh,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
Jake,
Yes.
Jim.
Yes, that motion carries. Thank you. Item 3 on the regular agenda is the Security Patrol Services request for quotation timeline. Jeremy's going to explain that to us.
Yes, Mr. Chairman and Authority Board members, we did start advertising for the RFP this week, and advertised on the city website and the Bismarck Tribune to be run December 12th, December 19th, and December 26th, and with our bid opening scheduled for January 3rd at 4 p.m. in the Mayor's Conference Room.
Okay. Okay, give me that date again. I ran out of ink here.
Yep, bid opening will be January 3rd of 2024 at 4 p.m.
1/3/2024 at 4 p.m. I will plan to be there. At this point, I should be able to. Okay, any questions or discussion on that item? Anybody? Nothing at all. Okay. Then we'll move on to item 5, the update on the ramps parking how-to marketing video project. And who wants to lead with that one? Jeremy or Jake?
Mr. Chairman, we have item number 4, the
Oops.
pay-by-app upgrades.
Oh. Yes, we do. Continued discussion on pay-by-app upgrades. Sorry about that. Hey, I'm on vacation. Cut me a little slack here. Okay. All right, update us or discuss it.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman and Authority Board members, so I kept this on the agenda because we don't want to lose track of the continued exploratory phase that we're in. And I'm still gathering some questions from various mobile app companies. Was a little behind this last month, but I do have a conference call scheduled with one of the others this afternoon. We're just playing a little phone tag with them, but a few of the questions that I'm learning or ramping up as we find out what is required for syncing with our current Amano McGann platform. That's the number one thing is we need to make sure that whichever mobile app provider the board would choose is that it does sync with our current equipment and software. So that would be, question number one. And then, of course, what are the fees and costs associated as far as transaction fees and processing fees and the difference between the monthly and hourly parking fees and transaction fees for that. And then with our current parking customer base, if they're paying us directly, how that works, if they want to set up a profile to utilize their phone as opposed to the RFID card, and if that's feasible, and are there additional fees that would be associated with that? And then also how this would work with our Park Smart program. And then, do these various mobile app providers operate in other North Dakota cities, and what has been the customer feedback for that? And what kind of reporting do they give to to management on what they're collecting for fees? And then how often is money deposited into the accounts, in this case, the parking authority accounts? So those are the various questions that I was kind of thinking through in my mind that we need to answer first. And if the authority board members have any additional questions you'd like me to ask, I can explore that and ask these companies as well.
Okay. Sounds like you've got a good list of questions going there. What do the other folks think? Any input, questions? Josh or Todd or Jake? Pretty quiet there. Anybody raising their hand? I'm not on Teams. I can't see. Any questions or suggestions for Jeremy as he moves forward with this? No. Jeremy, have you had a chance to talk to anybody on the phone who's actually doing this?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Park Mobile is the one of the companies that I have an ongoing conversation going with currently. And then Passport Parking is the other company that I'm actually have a conference call with this afternoon. Those are two of the bigger national mobile app companies out there, and actually Park Mobile did recently did sign a contract with the Alaris Center in Grand Forks very recently. And then Passport Parking is currently utilized in Fargo and Grand Forks.
Okay. And again, any feedback, or are you still in the gathering information?
I haven't received formal feedback from those parking entities yet, but that is on my list to reach out to them as well.
Okay. And one question I have, and it may be an entirely different issue or software issue. I'm seeing ramps where I am right now in Florida, but you'll pull up and it'll say, there's 5 spaces available on the green level, on a reader board, on a digital board. I don't know if that's something that we need to worry about at this stage, but it might be a feature that you're already looking at too. You know what I'm saying? When you might say that the green level is full, but there's 10 spaces available on the yellow level type stuff. And that's all automated, obviously, but might be more than what we are looking for too. But maybe add it to your list of questions.
Mr. Chairman, I know that type of equipment is available through, like Amano McGann, our current equipment supplier, does have those options and features, but of course, with cost.
Oh yeah. And again, I'm not so sure that that we're at that stage where we need that even, but these are probably bigger ramps. Okay. Any questions on the pay by app situation? Anybody? If not, we will move on to item 5 on the agenda, which is update on ramps parking how-to marketing video project. And there again, if Jeremy or Jake, you've been involved in this one, you guys can take it away.
Yeah, Chair and board members, I can provide an update. This is Jake. So I had a conversation with David St. Peter. He's the instructor with the Empower ED program. It's kind of an alternative education program with Bismarck Public Schools, and he was pretty excited about the opportunity here to provide the marketing video and have some students work on that. And again, that's that would be at no cost to the parking authority. So we had a meeting with 4 of the students. They're all juniors and seniors in the Bismarck Public School system. We kind of explained what we were looking for and went through a couple of example videos, and the students were really excited. So they did go out and start capturing some video, and they put together a clip for us. it's not quite ready yet to share. It's still a little bit raw. I had a few edits that I requested that they make, but I think we should have something to show the board at next month's parking authority meeting to get your feedback on. So they're excited about the project, and we're advancing knowing that there isn't really a cost here. So it seems like a win-win. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Any questions of Jake? Anybody? I concur. I mean, it's definitely a win-win if we can get a product and not have to pay anything for it, and some kids get to further their education by working on the project. That's great. Seems like a win-win. Okay. Thanks for the update, Jake. Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say I want to thank Corey and Dennis for helping the kids kind of coordinate on site and get into the ramps. So the students were provided a key pass to get into the ramps, which helped quite a bit. So thanks, Corey and Dennis, for that.
Yeah, good. Thanks, everybody. And thanks, Jake, for heading up the project. Awesome. Okay. We'll move on to item 6, which is the restroom upgrades for the second floor of the parkade. Jeremy, you did get some quotes or proposals. Walk us through those, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Authority Board members, we did get 3 bids from plumbing vendors for the various requested plumbing upgrades that would include the 3 ADA toilet stools with auto flush sensors to be replaced, essentially, and then also the 4 sink faucet upgrades with auto sensors. And upon further looking, one of the requests was to replace the vanity tops, and upon further looking at that, it would be cumbersome and potentially damage the tile that's on the walls. But we feel that with just new upgrades as far as the faucet fixture, will definitely do wonders as far as modernizing that part of it as far as the sinks go. And then in-house, we're able to do the painting of the partition stalls, a kind of a neutral gray color, but we can handle that in-house with our Parking Authority maintenance staff. So that would be not needing to use a vendor or to bid that part out. So these upgrades and these bids are just for the plumbing materials and labor only. And so the 3 companies was Cooling and Heating Unlimited at a bid price of $5,780, H.A. Thompson and Sons for $6,640, and Northern Plains Plumbing for $6,955. Cooling and Heating was the low bid.
Okay. All right. Any questions of Jeremy? Anybody? Any questions? If not, go ahead.
Sorry, this is Jake. Do you feel like, Jeremy, that the 3 bids were apples to apples comparisons? Do you feel like there was anything different in the products or any of that they're bidding on?
What I could see per the bids, that they are apples to apples comparison as far as the product being like a Zern, which is a pretty known commercial grade product, and they all bid the same based on that type of stool and flush fixture.
Okay. Other questions? If there's no other questions, what are your wishes?
I'll make a motion to accept the Cooling and Heating Unlimited bid for $5,780.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please, Sue.
Josh,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
Jake,
Yes.
Jim.
Yes, that motion carries. Thank you. And Jeremy, I'm sure you'll continue to keep the Dakota folks in the loop and let them know that the improvements are coming. So.
Yep, absolutely.
And the other tenants on that floor, of course. Okay. All right. Anything else on that item, Jeremy? And thanks to you and the staff for handling the painting and the minor repairs and stuff. That's great. you have anything else on that item?
Nothing else to report.
Okay. Let's move on to item 7, which is the monthly parking rates. This is about the time of year where we discuss rates, and if and when we decide to raise them, it usually occurs in the spring or late winter, February or whatever. I think in your packets you have comparisons from other cities as well as our rates. And Jeremy, if you'd refresh my memory, if not everybody else's, on the last time we increased or decreased or didn't do anything, maybe give us a quick rundown.
Mr. Chairman, authority board members, the last increase went into effect of March 1 of 2023. The one prior to that was the year prior of March 1 of 2022, and then there was a gap year in between that. And year over year, I believe the rate increases was roughly about 3%.
Okay. And I'm just looking through my stuff here. The agenda item says review monthly parking rates. Are we going to get into the hourly too?
Mr. Chairman, I did, as part of an agenda item, I guess, did only put monthly parking rates on there, but for purposes of discussion, if the board wishes to discuss both, that would be fine.
When was the last time we tweaked hourly? That's been a couple of years, I think, hasn't it?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, that would have been 2 years ago, because we felt that that was still fair rate, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And we don't. Yeah, you're absolutely right. We can do monthly. We can talk about that, or all, or none of the above, I guess. So, do you have a recommendation, Jeremy?
I guess from management standpoint, we're indifferent on this. I guess it was more so just to have on the agenda as kind of an annual check on where we're at with our rates, in conjunction with, we'll have a budget put out on the agenda for next month for 2024. Just kind of lining this up for where we're at for our reserve fund. We are in line with our budgeted income for the year, so that's good. But we know we have some capital improvements coming up down the road, of course, with the parkade, potential traffic coding, some equipment upgrades that may be needed here as part of our mobile pay app discussion, and I guess just to kind of keep up with normal inflationary costs as far as our overall maintenance upkeep goes. So just wanted to, put it on there for discussion of the board.
Okay. What are the authority members' thoughts or questions or suggestions? Anybody? We'll open it up.
I guess I would say let's maybe put this off a month and look at the budget, what we're looking at for next year with any expenditures we're going to have, and then at that time determine if we need to make a move on the rates.
Okay. Seems like a good idea. Anybody else want to weigh in? Anybody else? As we look at our cash position, obviously we're in good shape, and that's where we want to be and want to stay. But as Jeremy points out, there's always something. There's always going to be another capital expenditure item that's going to rear its ugly head. So, the nature of the beast. Jake or Josh, any thoughts on it?
One comment. I know it's been some time, Jeremy, since you circulated kind of a 5-year capital idea list. Maybe if we could just take another look at that to see what, if anything's popped up since then, or what we might be looking at in the next couple of years from a high level.
Good idea. Put all of that on the January agenda. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I'm certainly comfortable with that line of thought and that process of revisiting it in January, and maybe have a little bit more information in front of us and see which way to go. Okay. Jake, you have anything on that one? Anything else?
Nothing for me. I think it's a good idea to pause a month.
Okay. Okay. Without objection, we'll continue that item then for the January agenda. and move on to item 8, which is Parking Authority Board Member Term Selection Status Update. Who's going to give us that, Jeremy or Daniel?
Chair, Parking Authority, I can give a very brief update. So the process is moving along. One application was received. The way the process works is the mayor makes a recommendation that'll be released next week, and then the city commission will make their formal appointment on December 26th.
Okay. And one application was, refresh my memory, was there one vacancy or two?
One vacancy and one application, so,
Okay. Very good.
yep.
All right. So it'll be a Merry Christmas for somebody. All right.
The day after Christmas, but it'll be.
So Merry Christmas, Todd. Okay. All right. Other business. Who has other business for the good of the order today?
You want me to just talk about Christmas lights?
This is Jake. We should definitely talk about the Christmas lights. There's been a lot of compliments in the community for related to the Christmas lights on the parking ramps. So I would say good job, everyone involved in that.
Yep.
Hey guys, this is Kate and Corey. I want
Morning, Kate.
Corey and that crew. We got our power distribution pulled up from the alley. Two little hiccups, and then we figured it out, and it's ready to boogie. So I think it looks really good. Thank you guys for doing it, and maybe we can do more, as the years go on. So it looks great. I know
Absolutely.
Todd's downtown a lot at night. You're checking it out, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome. I agree. I made some side notes to bring that up as well, but thanks, Jake, for bringing that up. Thanks, everybody, for helping make that happen. And I agree, next year, hopefully, we can maybe light up a little bit more downtown, some of the public buildings. That'd be great. So, other business. Kate, did you have anything from any reports that you wanted to provide from the downtowners?
No, Jim, we want you to get on the beach as soon as possible on your vacation. So
Well,
fly free.
I'm sorry to tell you, but it's overcast today.
Oh,
So overcast and windy. It's December.
Get a margarita then or something. It's always a good time for a margarita.
That's correct. Thank you. All right. One other item that I wanted, most of you are probably aware of it. If not, I'll ask Jeremy or Daniel to dial up the article in the Fargo Forum. Has been, the Fargo Parking Authority and the Airport Authority have approved about a $45 million parking ramp at the airport. And it's just under 1,000 cars. I don't have the stats right in front of me, 900 and close to 1,000. So it works out to close to $44,000 per stall. But again, not knowing the details, if they're aligned with gold or whatever, but that just seems like a crazy, crazy number. And it's precast ramp, which is less expensive, obviously, to build than cast in place like our newest one. So it'll be interesting to see how that comes to fruition. It would also be interesting to see where those costs are coming from, and perhaps, since it is a municipal project, maybe Jeremy or maybe Daniel from community development, we can reach out to somebody over there and ask for a copy of their bid package. I would think it's public information, just for future reference. Because, as most of you recall, in the past, the numbers that have been thrown around for a possible future ramp in Bismarck have been in, for a precast ramp, have been in the 18,000 per stall. That's been a while. It was probably earlier this year, maybe a year ago. And that's exclusive of land. But again, in the case of the Fargo airport, obviously they're not, they have the land. So how they're getting to $44,000 per car, I would be very interested in seeing what all is involved in that. That's something, Daniel, you think you could do, or would that be appropriate for somebody from the city to call somebody over there, or would you rather that Jeremy do it?
Chair and authority, yes, we can look into that. I just had a brief conversation with Isaac Johnson in the community development department, but yeah, we'll take a look and get some information back.
Okay. That would be useful information as we move forward someday with another ramp or two downtown. Other business for the good of the order. Anybody have anything else? Any other business? The date of our next meeting would be January 11th. The normal place and time. That works for everybody. unfortunately, I'm afraid I will be there in Bismarck, but that's the way it goes. So, if there's no further business and if there's no objection, we stand adjourned until the next meeting. So, thanks everybody for your help. And if I don't talk to you, Merry Christmas.